guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to do a bit of a combined video with this video. So I'll start by talking about the first thing, and then I'll get on to another thing another day, or later in the day and stuff like that. So basically this video is going to be about pets and operations, and also the loss of a pet. If your pet's sick and it's time to say goodbye, which is very hard, trust me. I just want to say it's so good to see the rain after all the hot and humid weather that we've been having. It's so nice and cool. I had to work this morning, woke up and it was about 20 degrees. I went, oh, this is lovely. Anyway, just wanted to say it's so nice to see the rain for once. So I've got a bit of information here from Green Cross Vets. Now I'm not going to read the whole thing or sort of read off it, because from memory I know sort of what happens with operations and when you lose a pet and stuff like that. So this is just sort of giving me a bit of a guide, giving you a little bit more information and stuff like that. So basically, if your dog or cat needs surgery, whether it's desexing, ear cleaning, or a big operation as in they've got something in their stomach, or they've just got to get something off their body, I guess you could say, or something inside out. It's always daunting because 9 times out of 10 they do come out of it, but there's that 1% chance where they may die. Now you've just got to expect the worst, unfortunately, which is probably brutal or too honest for me to say, but you do have to expect that these things happen. Now, when I was working in vet surgery some time ago, I never experienced us losing a dog or a cat when they were under anaesthetic, when the vet was doing operations. But I know prior to working for them or for him, I know they lost a couple. But overall, they pretty much came out. So, but you just have to expect the worst. So, basically, with surgeries or operations or whatever you want to call them, regardless of what they are, you a bit like us when we go to hospital, no food in the morning, and it's just basically because in case something happens or they vomit or they get sick or something like that. So basically any operation, and they'll probably tell you this anyway, and this is probably common sense anyway, but no food on the day of surgery. Now, Green Cross goes on to say something about getting your pets, what's it say? Like bloods done before you actually get anaesthetic. I don't think it's necessary, but always check with your vet. And yeah, they generally come out of it pretty well, a lot better than we do when we go into hospital and have an operation. They're pretty much good to go 24 hours later or the next day. And generally the vet will give the animal, the dog or cat, pain relief after or maybe, I don't know if after or during the operation, so they can recover a little bit quicker and pain-free. And they also use different type of anesthetics, so if you're a little bit concerned about that, just ask them. I'm sure they'd be able to talk to you about it. I just printed this off. I don't know if you can see it there, but just a bit of information there. So yeah, they can have food and water prior, but definitely take the food away. They're generally between 7 and 8 p.m. at night. But they can have water, that's fine. It just goes on to vaccinations, microchipping, which I've already talked about, so I won't go into too much detail about that. I'm just looking about this anaesthetic, this stuff about anaesthetic. If you guys want to read this information, it's just greencross.com.au. Green Cross is like a veterinary chain over here, veterinary chain shop over here, and it's basically a veterinary surgery, veterinary clinic, whatever you call it. I don't know what people call it these days. Yeah, but they'd probably use different anaesthetics from one clinic to another, I'd say. So if you wanted to read more about that, and depending on your clinic, we used to tell people to come in between 7 and 8, and to collect them around 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Depending on how severe the operation is, sometimes the vet may say, oh no, you can come back at 3 o'clock in the afternoon or something like that. So just check with them, because all clinics might have different procedures. Also, if your dog or cat gets stitches, you might have to purchase an Elizabethan collar. So that just stays on them for, I don't know, 10 to 12 days or something like that. But again, check with your vet, you know, because different procedures require different sort of timings with those Elizabethan collars, so they don't scratch the stitches out. But a lot of times these days, I don't know if vets are doing this, but they did it with me when I had my sinuses operation. They put dissolvable, I think, stitches in them, so they might do that as well with animals. I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't think there's much more to say on that, but yeah, the main thing is to just check with your vet or the vet nurses to see if there's any information that you need to do prior to arriving, and their aftercare and stuff like that. Basically, you just have to keep them quiet and keep them in a quiet area and stuff like that. But as I said, they come out of it very quickly. Now, I think I might do another part of this video at a later date, because it sort of relates to operations, but I might leave it there and come back. So I'll talk to you all soon. Bye. Hey guys, so welcome back to the second part of this video. This part of the video, I'm going to be talking about a loss of a pet, or say if it's time for your pet to be put down, which is a very hard decision to make. I'm dreading the day when it happens to Maddie. I don't even want to think about it. I'm kind of swamped with work and study at the moment, so it's good that I've got something else on my mind. But yeah, if you feel as though that your pet can be saved somehow, go to your vet and just say, look, this is what's happened. Can you give my dog, or is there an operation that can fix my dog or cat? Because I really don't want to put him or her down. If the vet checks your dog or cat out and says, look, unfortunately, there's nothing we can do, the best option is to unfortunately put your pet down. Now, you do have time to think about this. You can go away and go, okay, I might go to another vet to get a second opinion. That's fine. But listen, if they do say the same thing, I would just put your pet down. Now, I know what I'm saying is probably harsh and brutal and stuff like that, but basically dogs and cats in Australia, some live to 20, but generally around 15, 16, 17, they start to sort of deteriorate, and you kind of know that it's time, especially if they're not eating, going to the toilet, or drinking any water. So if they're not doing those things, and you're like, oh, I really don't want to do this, but it's best for them. Just think they'll be better in doggy or cat heaven. They'll be resting in peace. And look, you can have memories. You can take photos. You can even cremate your dog and cat if that's, you know, the line you want to go down with. There's so many options you can do. If you're sort of struggling to think, oh, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, trust me, I have seen a lot of people have their dogs and cats down, and it is even upsetting for me. So a lot of people go, I don't know how you worked in a vet surgery, and sometimes I'm thinking, I don't know how you do your job. So you know, each to their own. It is very upsetting. I have found that since I have got Maddie, I've become a little bit more of an animal lover than I was when I was working in a vet surgery. I have more compassion, sympathy, and empathy for animals compared to humans. I apologize, but it's just the way I am. You know, unless I really know you, unless you're family or close friends or anything like that, that's a different story. So of course I have sympathy and empathy for those people. But until I got Maddie, I was like, oh yeah, blah, whatever. But I don't think you realize, and people don't realize this, until you get a pet of your own and you take care of it and you become attached and stuff like that. Things like this, it's a big decision to make. But yeah, look, the only advice I can give you is speak to your vet, and if you just really think it's time to put your dog or cat down, just do it, because it's going to benefit them in the long run. And if that's the best option, especially if that's the best option your vet gives you, go along with it, because they pretty much know, especially if the guys in the 50s, 60s or 70s or something like that, they'd have the knowledge and they'd know. So although this sounds very, very upsetting and really, really hard to do, if they're in pain and they're suffering, put them down. And that's going to be a very hard decision for me when it happens with Maddie. But because I sort of know the protocols and I've worked in a vet surgery before, I know that they're going to be better off, in doggy or cat heaven. Because I don't like seeing animals suffering. I don't like seeing people suffering. So yeah, that's the only advice I can give you. But it's up to you. You're the one that has to make the decision whether or not to put your dog or cat down, especially if they can't operate or do anything to keep them alive. All right, guys, I'll leave it there, and I'll talk to you all very soon. Bye.